Welcome to the Offshore Club's fun-filled, fact-filled, fast-paced blockbuster podcast, Open Mike, with Mike Cobb. For more than 20 years, Mike has worked and lived in Caribbean countries from north to south and the Atlantic to the Pacific, where the sun never sets on the good life at a great price. And now, here is your offshore ambassador at large, Mike Cobb.
Hello, this is Carib Carter Clues, but this is not Coffee with Carib Carter. So don't get your coffee mug out, okay? This is actually Open Mic with the offshore entrepreneur, Mike Cobb. And we're going to talk a lot of stuff, including one of the areas where Mike is, again, the authority, offshore investing. Mike, how are you today? How are you and where are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm actually in Miami today. I came back from Nicaragua, was in Nicaragua for a little over a week, came up to Miami for a crypto conference. And from here on Sunday, I go down to Belize for a week. So anyway, I'm burning, I'm burning the candle at both ends and a little bit in the middle right now. So yeah.
Yeah. So you've been Miami, Belize, Nicaragua, and I'm stuck in York, Pennsylvania. There's something wrong with this world. There's something definitely wrong with this. You said crypto, and it's a total departure. But look, this guy's an authority on investment. You said crypto. I'm going to give you my read on crypto, Mike, and you can say, as usual, Carter, you're way off base. My read on crypto is this: invest in it, put as much money as you can, but be ready to get the hell out the minute the government destroys the whole thing. Okay, Mike.
Yeah. Well, that could happen, right? Although they're figuring out ways to get more and more privacy in some of the cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin obviously is with Coinbase as your wallet is very, very transparent. And many of the coins and cryptocurrencies are that they continue to evolve them kind of to try to stay one step ahead of the law, so to speak, or one step ahead of the posse, as someone said here at this conference. My opinion about taxes and reporting is very different than most. Actually, it's not true. My opinion probably aligns with most people. But I believe in reporting. I believe in paying your taxes. Look, it is what it is, right? Pay everything you legally have to do. Stay in compliance with all the reporting requirements. And so therefore, I don't know for me just how radically important, uber privacy of my crypto is. Because, like the blockchain protects it from theft, right? It's nobody can really steal it from me. But you're right, the government could come crashing down on it at some point, and I'd probably be upset that I didn't have some more private, kind of money out there somewhere. But what's interesting is the central banks, the Bank of International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland, is now proposing central bank currencies. Right. Several countries have come up with it, and by the way, I'm not a crypto expert. In fact, it's not something we really as a company have anything to do with, other than we accept it as a form of payment. And I would say that I don't know what the percentage number is, but I don't know, 15, 20 people now maybe have transacted with us in crypto. So, it's becoming a medium of exchange that we want to accept, we do accept, and so that's why I'm here at this conference. I'm on one end, I'm learning a lot more about it. At the other end, I presented this morning twice, and I present again tomorrow with Rachel and Joel Nagel. We all three present tomorrow. Really just saying, hey, look, if you have a lot of cryptocurrency and you want to own a property overseas, you want to get a second residency overseas, and Joel even talks about getting a second passport, a second citizenship overseas. We're the experts. We can help you do that. Come see us. So that's why we're here. But again, it's nice to be in some of these sessions and learning a lot as well.
Well, and that's value. What you just said is tremendous value. I don't want to go on forever about crypto because we don't have that long, but I will say this: the investment advisor, one of them that I respect the most, Shah Gilani, the chief investment officer of Money Map Press, said once the government starts printing issuing its own cryptocurrency, it's going to crush everything, because it's not going to allow anybody else to have a currency any more than it allows anyone else to have a standing army. Great insight. Great. So, so that's where it is. But right now, some of our viewers are saying, Carter, why don't you shut up about cryptocurrency? This guy you're talking to is one of the greatest experts in the world on offshore investing, particularly in property. And that's what we want to hear about. So where's the smart property? I am looking, I'm just going to tell you right now, I search every day for property to invest in offshore, because that is where, in my opinion, everything in this country is going to move offshore. We're going to hit 75% effective tax rate in this country sooner rather than later.
Yep.
And if you don't have an escape route offshore, and the best way to do that, to me, I'm just telling you, for me, Mike, is property, you're going to be in a damn lot of trouble.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Well, I think you said it right. Look, and I've said this a few times today, when people are like, well, why should I have a plan B? Why should I, spend money on getting a second residency? And my answer is, you know what? Why do you have health insurance? Look, I hope I'm wasting my money on health insurance. Like, I'm not trying to have a heart attack or get hit by a bus so I can get the best value out of my health insurance investment, right? I don't ever want to get a return on that investment, right? I have it because it's protection, it's insurance, right? And the thing about a second residency is it's freedom insurance. It's the protection of the most important asset we have, which is ourselves, right? I think a lot of times people think about, asset protection is about protecting my stuff, right? I want to put my stocks and bonds and real estate and money and gold and blah, 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 blah. I want to put an asset protection trust, or I'm going to do something with it to protect it. But at the end of the day, what allowed you to have that stuff? You, right? Your physical freedom allowed you to earn those things. I mean, I guess some people are gifted or inherit it, whatever. But if you've earned it, it's you that earned it, right? And so my point is for a very small amount of money, $21,000. I mean, I got criticized the other day. Somebody hit me with, well, it's only for rich people. I don't know. I mean, maybe $21,000 is a lot of money, and it actually is a lot of money, right? But it's not $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million. A lot of times people think that, if I want to get a residency overseas, or I want to, whatever, it's hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Well, actually, it's $21,000, and you can have a second residency in Panama. In this case, about $34,000. You can have a second residency in Nicaragua. And to me, that's
how much is Nicaragua?
About 30,000 for your investment, about 4,000, maybe 4,200 for the legal work. So call it 35,000, right? But, and that's your first step, right? Now you have a permanent residency that allows you to live overseas, and it's insurance. It's freedom insurance. If you don't like how things are going, or if things really go off a cliff, or, for whatever reason you say, I'm really sorry, but I've got to leave the United States and I want to go somewhere else. Well, again, you have to be able to stay somewhere else, right? It's not like you're going on a trip, a vacation where you get a tourist visa. Like, if you go to a foreign country because you want to leave where we are now, then, you have the ability to stay. And by the way, I feel the exact same way about, freedom insurance as I feel about health insurance. I hope I never need it. I don't want to use it. I would love to stay in the United States. I hope the U.S. can get a better direction, and and maybe we will. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe there's a lot of energy in the United States that wants it to get better. Whether it will or not, I don't know. But I'm also a pragmatist. I'm an optimist, but I'm a pragmatist, right? It's sort of the plan. Hope for the best and plan for the worst, right? It's that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I that's what we're talking about here. It's kind of what's on my mind, is this idea of getting a second residency. But Nicaragua of many countries is an incredibly great place to have a second residency. I have one there. I lived in Nicaragua for 14 years. My family, we moved there when my wife and Amanda was 2, and she grew up there. We have an old daughter, Emily, who came along, and both my daughters grew up in Nicaragua, and it was a tremendous experience. It's really a free country in many ways that is surprising to many people.
Well, I think, the other day, as you know, Mike, my wife is from Honduras.
Yep.
And her dream from the time she was a little poor, impoverished little child was to come to America.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after being here 3 years, particularly this last year when the fascists have totally taken over, you're literally not free to walk out your door now. Mm-hmm. She said to me yesterday at lunch for the first time, I would like to move to Nicaragua. Okay. Yeah. To me, that's sad.
Very sad.
Sad. But you know what? She's not stupid. She's not stupid. She can see what the handwriting on the wall. If you aren't prepared to get out of this, and Mike, I know you're an optimist. I used to be, but I was in politics in Washington 40 years. I know these sleazy politicians. They are never going to surrender the freedom they have grabbed away from the American. It's not what politicians do. No. Okay? It's not what politicians do. If they, next is coming, I'll make this quick just so people know, though. And this is why, if you had told me during the Trump administration, get a second residency in Panama for $20,000, I would have said, yeah, okay, I'm going to invest in that and the Brooklyn Bridge. Okay? Why? But now, Elizabeth Warren has already introduced a bill that if you try to leave this country, you leave your money behind. A little frightening, folks. And you might say, well, it'll never pass. Oh, it will. Oh, it will. Yeah. Your taxes are going to be 75% by the middle of Biden's the effective tax rate. Mark my words. So the taxes, I just read something. I was on one of my favorite websites, Mike knows it, Vivian.com, and somebody was selling a property in Colombia, and it was $100,000 property, and it said the annual property taxes are $175. Right, folks, I think you're going to find that pretty damn appealing. And so here's a guy right here who knows all about those kind of taxes and the investment. Let me ask you this. If you don't want to answer, you can just say, cut the tape. I don't want to answer that. But you're one of the major investors in the Caribbean. You have what, five resorts in?
Five resorts, 5 communities. We built somewhat resorts, but 5 communities in 4 countries. Correct.
All right. Let me ask you this. Grand Pacifica.
Yeah.
You've had it how many years? 20?
21. We bought it in the year 2000. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Grand Pacifica, folks, hold on. Let me have a word from our sponsor. This is the Nicaragua Handbook. Yeah. And in there, it writes about, if you go to ecidevelopment.com, I'm not paid to do this, by the way. If you go to ecidevelopment.com, this handbook is free. Yes. And it's an incredible book. Okay. I thought the other day, when it comes to Nicaragua, Mike Cobb wrote the book, and that's it. And it's free at ECI Development. And so you went there, and it's a part of the book talks about Grand Pacifica. The first homes you built, what's been the appreciation and the value of them since you built them?
Can't even tell you, Carter. I don't know. Significant. How's that? Significant.
Yeah. I mean, so the equity, the equity has gone up and up and up, right?
Yes.
And if somebody buys something today, they have 2 ways they can make money on it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there are really 2 ways when you invest to make money: the cash flow or equity growth. And at Grand Pacifica, as in other places in Nicaragua, okay, get the handbook. It's free. You're going to get both. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, look, obviously, when we talk about anything that could happen in the future, it's in the future, right? But generally, 2 things I have seen happen and believe it will continue to happen is that Nicaragua will continue to become more popular. And just like things that are popular, you get supply and demand. For example, if you look at, I'm going to say the 2 extremes, right? If you look at either Cancun or Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and I might even throw in, some parts of Costa Rica. If you throw those in and you say, how popular are they? Well, you know what? Tons of people take their honeymoons there. Lots of people going on their honeymoons to Mexico and Costa Rica. How many people in the United States, in York, Pennsylvania, where you are, Carter, go to Nicaragua on their honeymoon? Not many, if any, right? Not many. And so the point is that the price, right?
The people in this damn city don't even know where Nicaragua is, let alone, and they don't marry. If you knew the population of York, they don't marry. So there ain't any honeymoon.
Right. So the point is that, right, so that you've got a very unpopular country. And when you have a country that's not very popular, real estate prices are pretty low, right? Supply and demand. Not a lot of people want to buy it, right? Versus Cabo San Lucas, Cancun, Mexico, Costa Rica, just to give you an idea, the just to buy a home site, not the home, right? Just if you were to just buy like a half an acre on the ocean in Nicaragua, you could do it for $250,000. And you might think, well, that's a lot of money. If you wanted to buy a half an acre in Cabo San Lucas, it would be $2.5 million, right? I mean, in Costa Rica, it might be $1 million, right? But I mean, we're talking 4, 5, 10 times as much for basically the same thing, right? It's a half an acre of land looking at the ocean, right? Pacific Ocean. So there's, kind of substantively no difference. What's the difference? It's in a different country, right? With a different perception and different popularity. And so I do believe that Nicaragua has become a lot more popular in the last 20 years. And in the next 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to continue to become more and more popular. So if you own an asset there, chances are that you're going to see appreciation of that asset, right? The other thing that happens, and it also follows popularity, is the second concept of cash flow that you talked about. Because again, if people aren't taking very many honeymoons and people really aren't going there on vacation, you don't have as many people. You don't have as many, as we call them in the industry, heads on beds, right? If you're looking for cash flow, you need heads on beds, right? People paying $150 a night or whatever the rate is to stay there. As a country becomes more popular, more airplanes fly there, you get more occupancy, you can raise the average daily rate. And so the combination of higher occupancy and a higher nightly rate or average daily rate, those two things come into the function of cash flow, right? And so you can, and what's kind of cool is you actually, if you for example, at Grand Pacific, I'll use that because I know our prices. We have Carter, an oceanfront condominium looking at the Pacific Ocean for $139,000. I don't know what that would cost in California, right? I mean, and I'm literally, you're 75 yards from the ocean. There's nothing between you and one of the best surf.
$1 million, Mike. $1 million.
$1 million bucks. Yeah, right.
I think it would easily.
Easily.
Close to the ocean, at least $1 million.
Easily, right? And so now, let's say you buy it for, use an easy number, $150,000, right? Nice round number. You buy it for $150,000, and you generate, $7,500 a year in kind of cash flow, right? And that's based on, say $100 a night and such an occupancy rate, whatever, right? No problem. Now you're making a 5% return. And you would say to yourself, that's all right. That's not great. And okay, I mean, but you still own this, beautiful condominium. Go use it for vacation, whatever, right? Plan B. If something hits the fan, I'm trying to be good on radio here.
Yes.
If something hits the fan and you need to go there, well, you just stop renting it and you move into it. Now it's that insurance product, right? But think about this for a second. In 5 years, when Nicaragua is more popular and so there's higher occupancy, and instead of $100 a night, it generates $150 a night, right? Now all of a sudden you might be making $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 a month, right? And now your cost basis was still $150. Right. So now your return on investment has started to jack up and ratchet up. And in 10 years, maybe it's $200 a night and the occupancy is even higher. And now it's generating, $20,000 a year for you. Right. So what happens is when you buy at the lower end of the popularity scale, you lock in a low cost basis for the piece of real estate that you own. And then as a country becomes more popular, or could become more popular over time, right? The occupancy goes up, the average daily rate goes up, and the combination of those two things creates a much higher cash flow yield to you. But your cost basis was way back here when the country wasn't very popular. Our company owns a ton of real estate. We own 2,500 acres in Nicaragua. We've built homes, condos, golf course, restaurants. We're in the process of building a whole tiny home community there for freedom-loving individuals, by the way, Carter. Let me say that. Our tiny home community, 100 tiny homes. The first 50 sold out. 20 of the first 50 are currently under construction. We're going to start the next 20 here in about 60 days.
Folks, these are not tiny. They're cozy.
Cozy homes.
You make me feel like I need to be a dwarf to live in one.
All right, cozy homes. I like that. Cozy homes.
Let me make it a point here because I'm serious about this. Yeah. The real square footage that you live in that cozy home is 1,200 to 1,500 square feet.
Correct.
Right.
But you're only paying to build about 500 square feet. That's right.
Exactly.
Because right, you build the rooftop terrace, right? I mean, if you have 500 square feet inside, you've got 500 square feet on the roof. Right?
On the roof.
right on the roof, and we put a nice big palapa on top, and they're solar, so you have solar on top of your palapa. You can be on top of your roof, and then down at the ground level, you put in nice patios covered, obviously. And so people, when you live in the tropics, you live outside. So these cozy homes, thank you, Carter. These cozy homes give you, about 12 to 1,300 square feet of livable space, but you're really only paying to build about 500 square feet. So it's a really good value proposition as well. I totally lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with that. But
I interrupted you. I was just saying, people are saying, why does he have to keep interrupting? Mike, I don't get it. It's my nature. It's my DNA. Yeah. But
I might think of it. I might not. Anyway.
Well, the point you were making, and I think you really drove it home, is that if you invest offshore, and let's just bring it home in Grand Pacifica. And this is not an ad for Grand Pacifica. There's a lot of other places. The Corn Islands I would invest in, Matagalpa in Nicaragua. But Grand Pacifica, we really know if you invest $150,000 in essentially a beachfront home on the Pacific, and you're getting cash flow from it, plus you're getting exponential increase in equity. What kind of idiot would pass that up? How about okay, right now people are saying, all right, but how about financing?
That's a good point. We work with a bank in Belize, Key International Bank, and they will provide financing to a North American consumer for homes in many countries of Latin America, not just Nicaragua. So so financing's available up to 80%, I believe. One of our sales team, one of our property consultants could answer that question much more specifically than I can. But yes, financing's available up to 80%, I believe, on the cozy homes. Yeah,
and now cozy home is you can get for less than 130, right?
Oh yeah, 94, 95,000, something like that for one of the cozy homes. Yeah. And there you're about 100 and maybe 110, 120 yards from the beach. And we tell people, and we tell people you can't see the beach because we don't want to promise an ocean view on something we can't guarantee. But there's a decent chance you'd be able to see the ocean from your cozy home. If you couldn't, you could walk 120 yards and put your feet in the water. Okay.
Well, yeah. So that's a pretty good deal. I think, you can get if you can't walk 120 yards to see the ocean, chances are you're not that curious to see it anyway.
Right. Under 100,000. Right.
Yeah. For under $100,000. So this is, and so you're getting a gorgeous place to live in a very free country, freer than this country. And somebody's saying, come on, Carter. Okay. I want you to think in New York now. In New York City, de Blasio is now sending the police door to door, not for hate crimes, but for hurt crimes. In other words, let's say somebody's playing a boom box so damn loud you can't sleep. And you say, excuse me, could you turn that down a little bit? And they report you for insulting them. And right now somebody's saying, you're making that up. Look it up. That's a hurt crime. The police give you one warning. And if you ask them to turn it down again, you are arrested. I don't think Ortega in Nicaragua is ever going to do that.
No, That's incredible, Carter. That's incredible.
And it's going to spread. It's going to spread. Yeah, it will. And so, what I laugh about what they say, but it's not a free country. It's freer than it is here now. I'm just going to say it point blank. When they say about, but Ortega is a Sandinista. Number one, most people don't even know what a Sandinista is, but they still remember the word. And it's like I was saying earlier today, Mike, I can't remember who I was talking to. I was telling people about a great deal on some property in Colombia, an entire coffee farm for $100,000, 17 acres. It's a hell of a deal. Yeah. And the person said, what about Escobar, Pablo Escobar? He's been dead since 1993, so he's probably not too big a threat. Ortega, that country, that revolution was in 1980. That's 4 years ago. Let me tell you how long ago that was, Mike. I was young then.
Yeah. And actually in 1979, 1980, I was in 9th and 10th grade. I remember. Right. So, it was a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
Generations. two
Yeah.
generations, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very peaceful. I think it's the safest country now in Central America. Am I right?
Yeah, it's funny. It and Costa Rica tend to like run for
Okay.
second, and they kind of, it depends. And so I don't know this year. Well, last year I don't know what the stats were, but yes, it's a very safe country. I mean, I lived there for 14 years. We never had any issues. My wife would drive our two daughters up into the middle of nowhere looking for butterfly farms and waterfalls and every other kind of thing. My wife was the Girl Scout leader, one of the Girl Scout leaders down there, and took troops of girls all over the country. And you know what? It is a super peaceful country that it's confusing because you just wouldn't understand that based on the news cycles of the 80s. But the reality is when the Civil War ended, news from Nicaragua ended. So we're left with vision of Civil War, but again, they have 40 years ago. I mean, it's a long time.
He is not Comandante Ortega anymore. He's a little fat man. And I know you can't say that because you have to go back there.
He's the president of Nicaragua. Okay?
Yes, he is. Yes,
the elected president of Nicaragua. Right.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's a very positive environment. So you have now. Most of your property in Nicaragua is beachfront, right? Or
yes.
near the beach. Yeah. Uh-huh. But then you also, I think I read, you're getting ready to do some cozy homes in Honduras.
Well, Panama, actually.
Panama,
yes, okay. In the islands. And the nice thing about that community is that it's not on the water. So a lot of people want to be at the beach, but the tropics actually offer this, I think, perfect climate. And it's actually the climate that I like the best. And I like to call it springtime all the time. Springtime all the time. So at night, you're up in the mountains. It's a coffee growing area, right? It's where, like you're talking about in Colombia, right? I mean, it's that same elevation, 3,000, 4,000 feet above sea level in the tropics. And literally every night it's 65 to 70 degrees. And every day it's 75 to 80. It's springtime all the time. I personally love that climate. I'm with you. I'm delightful. So yes, we're building the first cozy home community there. I think actually the first phase of 20 cozy homes actually sold out on a webinar that we had, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago, and we're getting ready to open up the next phase of pre-sales for those as well. So. Yeah,
that's in the Boquete region, right?
It is
up in the mountains. And folks, believe it or not, some of those homes up in Boquete, I'm not saying the cozy homes, but some of the homes have fireplaces.
Yes,
because it's very cool in the evening. That really appeals to me.
Yeah, you go up a little bit higher. If you get up to about 6,000 feet above sea level, then you actually might want a fireplace because your temperature at night will be in the high 40s, low 50s. Right, daytime temperatures in the maybe high 60s to 70. So again, depending on you actually set your temperature by what elevation you are in the tropics. And 3,000 to 4,000 feet, you're sort of in that 65 to 70 at night, 75 to 80 in the day. But you're right, some of the homes that are up at the into the mountains, have fireplaces.
It's fantastic. So let's. We're almost out of time. So let's talk about something general here, because we've given people, look, folks, when we talk about, and I want to make this clear, when we talk about Grand Pacifica, the cozy homes in Boquete, Panama, this is an investment opportunity for you. Okay. It's a real, genuine investment opportunity. It's not a matter of, oh, this is a sale. This is a real estate advertising program. That's not the point. What we want you to understand is what I want you to understand, even if you don't invest in Grand Pacifica, which, look, you heard the figure, $130,000. It's an incredibly great investment. $90,000 for a cozy home. And the same in Boquete, even if you don't look for somewhere to invest there, because the U.S. population is going to move south. I'm telling you. And that's what I wanted to move to, Mike. You're at the forefront. What do you see in terms of inquiries from people in the U.S. who are now, let me ask you, are more people looking now? That very simple question.
Yeah, sure. Let me answer sort of the unasked question, because I think it's actually a far more important answer. The question about how many people might do it, could do it, are thinking about doing, I have that data and I'll share it with you in a second. But actually, I think the far more significant data is how many people are actually doing it right now. Like,
Yes.
how many people are really expats, right? I mean, the numbers vary because there's no way to really measure it, right? But the estimate is there are about 8 million US and Canadians who are living full-time outside the United States and Canada. 8 million people are already expats.
Wow.
613,000 US retirees have registered at a consulate, which actually, or an embassy overseas, which actually was a lot more important when you had to physically go to the consulate or the embassy to pick up your Social Security check, right? Now everything's direct deposit, so people aren't even registering. So we don't even know how many retirees live overseas. But the people who are registered at embassies and consulates today is 613,000. So that's actually what's happening. And in terms of like real data, I like real data, like not surveys, right? But what we've seen is we've seen a couple companies do some significant surveys. One of them is Zogby Company. They surveyed 103,000 US citizens. That is a massive statistical sampling.
Massive.
And what they found was 11.6% of the folks that they surveyed were seriously considering owning property overseas. Well, Carter, that's 1 in 10. 1 in 10 US citizens is seriously considering owning property overseas, right? And so, and the Canadian data, by the way, TD Waterhouse did a survey of the Canadian marketplace and found that 45% of Canadians plan to spend a month or more outside of Canada every winter. And so, like, again, strong survey data suggesting that people want to do this or considering doing this, right? Now to get to the kind of like what's really happening. We're doing webinars, we're at live conferences, lots of virtual conferences in the last couple of years. Carter, the number of inquiries is off the Richter scale. We had our best sales year in 2020 that we've had in a decade and a half. And actually, of the 20 cozy homes at Grand Pacifica that have already been sold and started to be delivered or built, right? Only 2 of those 20 people have been to Nicaragua. These folks are buying, they're buying.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we've been around this is our 25th year of business. So
you've got the credibility.
I mean, people can trust us. We're going to do, right? But I mean, the inquiries are off the Richter scale. Sales are the best they've been in a decade and a half. So obviously, I think it's a combination of politics and the COVID lockdown restrictions of freedom and things like that. I think the combination of those two things is really pronouncing a huge wake-up call to people in the United States and Canada that it's not like it always was, and we just can't count on it being kind of the same, and we better figure out what we're going to do to take care of ourselves, right? This idea of, I know like people like to tease the preppers, right? And I'm a prepper and my wife teases me all the time because I got a lot of stuff in our basement, right? But you know what? When the power went off in Texas, when the power went off in Texas, she actually said to me, "Hey, honey, how much water do we have in the basement?" And I said, I can't remember how many gallons we have, 100 gallons or whatever. I said, honey, we have 100 gallons down there. And I didn't say, I told you so. I just said, we got 100 gallons of water in the basement.
You didn't say, but none for you because you.
It's all hers. Let me be clear. It's all hers. But I think, again, I think sometimes it takes something like the snowstorm in Texas, to like get my wife, who's again very conservative and just couldn't even imagine ever needing 100 gallons of water in the basement, blah 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 blah, right? To be like, oh, well, maybe it's a good idea to have some water in the basement, right? And I think the politics and I think the reaction to COVID, right, that has really has given people this kind of I should plan a little bit, and maybe I should not just plan, but actually do something to be prepared for this kind of eventuality. Carter, it's been incredible. Our sales team is swamped. We had one newsletter. He does videos, but newsletter writer. But this was a video. He did a mention of our project at Grand Pacifica, and overnight in 24 hours we had 1,200 inquiries in 24 hours. I mean, like I said, it's going gangbusters. And, and look, as a businessman who was around for 24 years, we're ready for it. We've prepared our company to be ready to handle those inquiries and then deliver the products that people want. But I got to say, as a U.S. citizen, I'm sad that so many people are wanting this. I'm happy that we can provide it. I'm happy that we can help people find peace of mind, because at the end, that's really what we're doing. Whether it's our second residency, whether it's a home or a condo, a plan B, sort of that freedom insurance. Really what we deliver to somebody is peace of mind that they've got their 100 gallons of water in the basement if water goes off for 2 weeks, right? And it's freedom insurance, and I'm happy that we were prepared to be able to deliver that to the people who want it and need it. But it is sad. I mean,
it's sad. Look, I mean, I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, but I'm getting out of Dodge. I'm just telling you that right now, because look, and I don't want to be, I know we got to go, but what you've said is so good. Yeah. What you said is so good, because folks, what Mike has told you is there are two great reasons to go ahead and make your purchase offshore now, not just at Grand Pacifica or one of Mike's somewhere. Two great reasons. One, so you can go there, which is what I would do if I were you, but also it's a great investment. If all these people are moving off, the prices are going to go up and you make the money. Yeah. So that's it, Mike.
And think about this, as people come down, even if you don't actually move, a lot of people are, and a lot of people are now renting long-term. Think about the digital nomads. That's a whole new category of people that the COVID thing has stirred up, right? People who were never really free from their employers to be able to go overseas and work, even though they could work from home. Their employers, wanted them in the office, right? Well, now that whole thing has been broken apart and decoupled, right? And so there are a lot of people who are coming overseas who are looking for long-term rentals. So that's actually this new piece of the marketplace that we're helping folks figure out. So anyway, yeah.
Perfect. So the bottom line is get in now.
Yep.
Mike, once again, thank you. This is just a great show. This is a great show, because what they, Carib Carter's Carib Carter, you can watch me every Monday. Let me plug my own show while we're on here. Every Monday at noon on Coffee with Carib Carter. You can watch me, and I think you'll enjoy it. But here on Open Mic, you get to, I don't have to tell you, you've just seen it. Incredible advice on how to make your move, either to move or to invest. So, Mike, thank you once again. Until next Friday.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carter. Yeah, have a nice weekend.
You do the same. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, bye.
For more information on the Offshore Club or to contact Mike Cobb, visit offshore.club today. Offshore.club. See you next time at the Offshore Club.